I'm Oscar Hillstrom and welcome to the Sci-Fi Show. Today we've got a special treat for you. Lance Henriksen, general all-around legend and sci-fi superstar, Skyped us. That's right, he Skyped us. We had a face-to-face chat with him through the miracle of modern technology, and he told us all about his new book, Not Bad for a Human. It's completely awesome, as is Lance, who has some fantastic stories and some pretty awesome tattoos. To find out more, check this out. One of the more startling revelations from your book was that you were illiterate when you were younger. Can you please tell me the process of learning to read via film scripts, as I think you put it?
When I say I was illiterate, I only went to 3 years of grammar school, and one of the things that I hated school. I just hated it. I didn't like the process. I didn't like why I was there. I felt more like a detention camp than anything else. I just wanted to be. The world was out there like a glowing cherry. But when it came to reading, I was already an artist. I mean, from the time I was 14, I was painting murals. I mean, nobody asks an artist, are you stupid? Can you read? None of that stuff. It doesn't exist there. If you cut your ear off, they assume, well, that's what artists do. I mean, I always thought that acting was just a matter of being. We're all going to get together. You get a flintlock rifle. I get a horse to ride, and we're going to do these scenes. But I didn't realize there was so much literature involved. So when I finally had to get involved and forced to get involved with it, I realized that I was thinking in pictures. I wasn't thinking in the structure of language. And so when I did my first play, I had somebody put it on tape, and I learned everybody's lines, and I did the play. And then slowly, I started becoming comfortable with the written word. But I still, to this day, don't approach it that way.
I'm sort of looking at you as a person who can read people because you had to. You go into that first meeting, can you spot them in 10 seconds and say, look, sorry, buddy, you're an idiot, I can't work with you? Or just say,
well, you can. Yeah, you can. I mean, you give them a little test. You test their humanity, in the situation. It can be very simple. Like if you could start a sentence by saying, what if? And my instincts are telling me such and such. Then you see their response and you get a real sense of how legitimate they are in terms of a process. That's just when it starts. I mean, I've been lied to. I mean, literally told, oh, that's a great idea, we'll do it when we start shooting. And when it came time to shoot, they don't remember the conversation. So then you have to work your way around that somehow.
Right.
There is a thing that happens when you're from New York or any major city, but mostly New York, because the only nature in it, because of all the big buildings and how tight it is people. That's the only nature. So you get very good at having what I commonly call a shit detector, and you can read people very quickly, it's not always right, it's not always accurate, but certainly it falls more into that category just out of a kind of a survival issue. But and also you see the best of people as well, not just the worst.
Well, it's one of the more fascinating aspects, the dichotomies of your career, is that you portray men with gravitas, worthy men, even as bad guys. They have a weight to them. Yet you yourself are the closest to a leaf on the wind that an actor can be. Where do you think this gravitas, this weight, comes from?
If you're going to do a scene with somebody, or like we're doing a scene right now in a sense, whoever raises the stakes, the director's raising the stakes, the writer did all he could, and the photographer is making demands, and the stakes keep getting raised and raised and raised. Without restraint, there's no art. So within that structure that we all agree on, all of us that are doing the movie, I seem to find a place that nobody can argue with. I mean, I've been killed 500 times in a movie, it seems. I mean, at least 200 times. And nobody asks me anymore how I would like to die. They don't say, do you die with your tongue in or tongue out? They don't do that. I just die. and whatever the morality play is that brought me to that moment. I've had to rationalize it, and I think my ability to rationalize a bad guy or a strong character comes from the fact that I had to rationalize a lot of my life, and it's a very, very automatic thing that I can do. If you realize you're getting paid for it, and you better know what you're doing when you get in there, because it's like doing a fight. You got to prepare for a fight. You can't. The tomato cans that just walk in and haven't trained for 4 days, they get the shit beat out of them. And a lot of acting to me is like a boxing metaphor, really.
I mean, you hear about actors like Laurence Olivier who says to Dustin Hoffman, just act, but you throw yourself into it.
It's a very safe place. Making movies is a very safe place unless you do a bad stunt, like jumping off a building or throwing yourself through the windshield of a car. But I mean, it's a safe environment. We all know that we're there to protect each other. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna be like a ballet or music or a symphony or whatever it is, and that manifests itself. But it's a safe place. Like one of my great joys was when I first got into acting, that I could actually take a car and go into an intersection and do wheelies in a circle and then drive out of there really fast and not get arrested for it. I was thrilled. That's part of the movie. Yay. Give me more. I want more.
Now, driving cars is awesome. Kissing girls on film isn't quite as awesome as it seems. Or is it?
It is for me.
Any chance you can get?
No, it's quite difficult, actually. I did some nude scenes in a flick once, and it was really hard, man. It was really... I had to say to the director, nobody wants to see my ass, man. Just stay on her. I've been doing pottery since the 60s. It's not that I'm like a grandmother making little vases and little cups and little bowls. I make epic stuff as a potter. So it's not like a hobby, it's an obsession. I mean, because you can't just be an actor. You can't. I mean, I'm offended by white plates to eat food off of, because it's like eating out of the kitchen sink or the toilet bowl. They're all white porcelain. And what makes the beautiful pot? I say the process. And pottery is as much a recording device as a recorder or a record or a CD. It records everything you do to it. And that, to me, gave me the idea that process is everything. I don't care if I sell a pot, to be honest. I just am determined to make them as many as I can, bury them in the backyard, and then hope someday somebody will find them and wonder who this society was.
You are literally an icon. Your bishop is something that everybody will always remember. But you're also a man who can be put into any sci-fi, horror, fantasy movie and walk away with your head unbowed, no matter how shit that film is.
That's right.
It's a rare gift that comes from, obviously, you know what you're doing, and whatever the hell anybody else is doing, that's their problem.
Well, you try to help them. You try to help people, and you want them to look good, because the more everybody looks good, the better off we all are. But I don't do any low-budget acting, so when I'm in there, I'm swinging out full tilt. You can't hit a home run every time you go up, and an actor is not totally responsible for the movie. They're responsible for what they do, their work. Look, editors can ruin a movie. They can make it sing. I mean, it's a miracle, the whole thing, anyway.
So there you have it. Lance Henriksen, the man, the legend, and the all-around nice guy. We think if we ever want to do pottery, we want to do it just like him.